Happy Saturday, everybody. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Pat Cavlin here with a look at your tropical update. We do this every night at 8 p.m. on KHOU 11 Plus to keep you in the loop with what's going on. Things have been pretty quiet so far this season. Knock on wood, we've had a couple of scares out in the Atlantic. So far, nothing in the Gulf, nothing in the Caribbean. Hope to keep it that way. But we are still watching more activity out in the Atlantic. So as we check out the latest here from the National Hurricane Center, we're still watching this wave off the West Africa coast, now moving into the central Atlantic. Odds for development still at 60%. That was the same update that we got earlier this afternoon. The only change is that this is the 7-day outlook. The 2-day outlook, the 48-hour outlook, went from a 10% to a 20% chance. So the Hurricane Center is going to keep on slowly increasing the odds for this wave to develop if conditions continue to look favorable here as we go through the next few days. I don't really think that we'll see anything in the next few days, but it's not going to be until it gets to this area here in that orange shading from the central Atlantic towards the Caribbean that we might actually see this try to develop into something. So let's talk about what the models are showing with this. This is one computer simulation. This is the European model. Now check this out. As we take this through the middle and the end of the week, it really kind of struggles to develop a system here. So there is the potential for some development, but it's not till the end of the week. So again, within that orange shaded area from the Hurricane Center. But even here, it's still kind of an open wave, so I don't think we actually have a named system at this point. And so with a system like this, you would expect to see some squally, gusty showers, maybe some rough surf, but that's it. You're not, we're not seeing hurricane force winds. We're not even seeing tropical storm force winds. We're not seeing devastating flooding or anything like that you would see from, again, a well-organized tropical system. So by Friday, this model has this area of low pressure here across the greater Antilles. So the northern islands here, the Leeward Islands, and it seems to be taking that path up to the north, which has been a very, very common theme that we have seen so far this season. So let's check out the comparison between the American model in red and the European model here in black. So we start the clock tonight and we keep it going. And watch this. The American model takes a totally different turn with this, developing it into an organized system and rapidly intensifying it as we get towards the weekend. So a very different picture than what's being painted by the European model, which on this map isn't even showing up. I will say, though, the similarity between the two, and remember, the European model is what I just showed you before this slide, is the location here. So both of them take this system, whether it's an open tropical wave or a strong hurricane, and they take it right to this corner of the Atlantic here along the northern crest of the Leeward Islands getting into the greater Antilles. So it's a good thing that we have at least, good agreement with the two models on the location and the timing, but the intensity obviously is going to be something we'll have to keep an eye on. So I think you can kind of take a break from stressing about the tropics for now, and we'll just kind of keep an eye on this thing as we get towards the end of the week. We are starting to move out of the peak of hurricane season, so there's the good news. The peak of the season was now almost a month ago, September 10th. We're really starting to come down the chart here in terms of the most activity that we see. So pretty much once we get towards the end of this month, our opportunities for tropical weather here in southeast Texas really starts to decline pretty quickly because that's typically the time of the year that we get cold fronts that move through the area. And so once you get those cold fronts that come through, that really acts as a barrier and a steering mechanism to scoop anything that may try to develop close to home in the Caribbean or the Gulf and just scoop it out towards the east. So that's why we typically start to see our activity wind down here within the next month. But until then, anything can happen. So we keep our guard up, we keep watching, we keep doing these updates for you here every night at 8 p.m. on KHOU 11 Plus. That's the latest that I have for you right now. We'll have an update on this forecast and, of course, what to expect for tomorrow and the rest of the week coming up on the KHOU 11 News at 10 o'clock. Hope to see you there.